Hi folks, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net. Thanks again for watching on Saturday the 21st of March. Hope you're having a good day and that the weather has been as glorious for you as it has been here in South Staffordshire today. Although I know it's not been fantastic for everyone, more cloud around, particularly across eastern and southern areas today. But still, hey, hopefully you've been able to enjoy it. Okay, we looked at the JMA yesterday, didn't we, the month ahead forecast, and what I want to do today was just give you a sneak feel how the JMA is seeing things through April, May and June. It's going to be more detail on our on-demand forecast coming up very soon, but I just wanted to give you really a heads up as to how things are looking according to the model and try and pick out the reasons why it's doing what it's trying to do. This is the forecast for April, so this is the forecast for the whole of April from the JMA model, and you notice really we're looking at heights around about normal through the UK. Big trough though looks still out in the Atlantic here, bit of a ridge here and then a trough across eastern parts of Europe, and what it looks actually is very similar, you know, to the pattern that we've got at the moment, with a higher than normal heights across northern parts of Russia, so higher pressure in here, and then kind of a ridge at times trying to extend back into the UK, bringing about an easterly flow. So it's a very similar sort of overall pattern. Now, don't forget that doesn't mean it's going to be there all the time, but what it does suggest is that that's the overall theme through April. So I think we're looking at probably low pressure centred down here, low pressure up towards the northwest. We've got that kind of easterly flow trying to get in at times. So you notice here, look at a bit of a trough in the 500 millibar flow. So a tendency towards a flow something like that across the country. So I tend to lean into the idea of, rain across northern and western Scotland, northern and western Ireland, and probably rain at times and pretty chilly East Anglia in the southeast, but not that much in between. And overall, I do think that for April, sorry, it's disappeared from up there, for April, probably a fairly cool feel to things across England and Wales. Near normal temperatures through Scotland, probably temperatures, near normal across Scotland, and rainfall, I think, near to normal for northern and western Scotland, northern and western Ireland. Probably just below across eastern and southeastern parts of the country, near normal elsewhere. But I think generally April definitely dominated by this set of flows. And the easterly just try to keep on coming back in. Now, this is May, and I'm sorry folks, but this doesn't look particularly very good at all. Higher than normal heights down towards the southwest and towards the east. This is an easterly coming in here. And here we are with our normal flow around the high, but with a trough out here in Europe, trough out here, this would suggest that that flow is doing something like that through the UK. So I'm tending to think that May, looks as if it's a fairly cool month. It's a fairly unsettled month. Won't be all the way through. We may find the high at times just managing to penetrate westwards, but to me it's looking cool and it's looking rather wet. And then we get into June. Well, June overall, well, let's just write it off because it's not looking great again. Look at that centre of low height centred across southern Europe, high pressure out towards the west and towards the east. That creates that sort of flow, something like this, and there that low would bring in an easterly flow through the UK. That is not a good look for Europe. Not particularly great for the UK. That suggests cool weather, wetter than normal weather, particularly across the east and the south. Perhaps drier though across northern and western parts of Scotland. But generally, May and June just ain't looking good, you know, to kick off summer. They are looking like being cool months. Interesting to note as well, look, this cool weather getting into the States again, thanks to that trough. And look, you notice here the ridge across the western states, which is what allows the trough to get into here. It allows the ridge to build in the Atlantic, and it then allows, because of the cooler northwesterly flow that gets down here, let me do that in a different colour, because of the cooler northwest flow that gets in here, it allows the low to form across central parts of Europe. So that is not looking particularly brilliant. And for the 3 months overall, so this is for the 3 months running from April through till June. You see there, look, ridge out here generally, but a trough here, ridge here, trough getting back in, particularly across Europe there, and I think what that does is that's the thing that's generating that east to northeast tendency across the east and the south, but dry towards the north and the west because of that ridge. As I say, far more detail in the on-demand video that's coming up, and not all models are looking like this, but we are starting to firm up on this idea of not particularly great weather coming through during this period, particularly May and June. But as I say, far more information coming up in the on-demand video. Now, the driving force behind this, as I've been telling you for some time, I think is the cool water that's out towards the UK. And it's this contrast between the cool water to the west of the UK and the warmer water here through the Gulf of Mexico running into the Western Atlantic off the coast of the States, and the warm water that's down here off the western coast of the States. All of these are combining basically. So what we're getting is the warm water is helping the trough. So then we're getting, helping the ridge. Then we're getting a trough coming down here in the eastern states. Ridge actually developing mid-western Atlantic. Then we're getting this tendency in here for mixed conditions as the ridge tries to build in. And the problem is that as that ridge gets in, it promotes the northwesterly flow down here, which promotes the low down here across southern parts of Europe, and at the same time then as a result pumps the heights further north, builds the high in here and keeps that easterly flow going. Actually, what I should say, it maintains that tendency towards an easterly flow. And this is the prediction of sea surface temperatures through April through the June from the JMA. And look, colder than normal water out to the west of the UK, warmer than normal water here towards the east of the US and off the US west coast. So long as that pattern is maintained, so we keep this tendency going back into an east-northeasterly, ridge building occasionally from the high across Scandinavia, ridge mid-Atlantic trough heading down into Europe, and those lows tending to get into the Med and just keep themselves in the Med and keep those conditions generally unsettled across central parts of Europe. So, my apologies for being the harbinger of potentially bad news, but as I say, our on-demand video will be released soon with far more detail in it, and will give you an idea of probabilities of each scenario occurring, so hopefully that'll be very useful for you. Now, if you want to know more about the weather and the way it works, then I've got my WeatherWise DVD. Thousands of you already bought this. It lasts for 2 hours, but it's broken down into little 5-minute sections, and you all tell me how useful it is and how handy it is just to drop into each individual section. So we talk about fronts, we talk about clouds, highs and low pressure, why they form, how they form, and the weather they bring. So the WeatherWise DVD you can order now. Or if you want to know more about clouds, identifying them and the weather they bring, then I've got my Pocket Weather Forecaster. It's 84 full colour pages, explains the weather and explains the clouds, and the weather that they bring. They're available to order now from the website. And I'll leave you with that for now, but thanks again for watching, and thanks for your continued support of WeatherWeb as well. Please do remember to tell your friends about us. You can follow us on Twitter at WXWeb. But for now, whatever you're doing, have a great day. Don't be too disappointed by that forecast for April, May and June. Who knows? It may not be correct, but I've got a horrible feeling about it. Anyway, I'll leave you with that for now. Thanks again for watching, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.